I'm fixing my eyes on heaven's prize. My heart is set, my hands are lifted high. For your kingdom, Lord, I'll testify. I've got no time for doubt, no room for delay. Every day I live, I'm walking in your way. The mission is clear.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to night 9 of our Women's History Month celebration right here on the Push Talk Show. I'm Patrice Reed, your host, the PR networker, and your push coach. We have been pushing for 9 nights now. Can you believe it? And hey, do you see any bags under my eyes? No, no, no. When you are graced to do something, the Lord always finds ways, right? No matter what is going on during the day, no matter what. And I can tell you, it was a day today for me where I had to really push. I had to swallow a bit of a situation. And you know what? I can tell you the age humility. I had a lot of that today. I had a lot of just be a humbled moment today. And I'm just thankful to the Lord that we get to live out whatever he has given us to do or whatever initiative that we're pushing. Just know you're gonna have to live that thing out daily, okay? And so I'm thankful to the Lord for all that he has been doing and for what he is about to do, because tonight, I try to get myself a little styled up. I don't know if I passed the test, but we will see, because we have an amazing guest, my sister friend. We met. You'll hear a bit more about how we met, but we always seem to be meeting in this fashion, right? And so, something that people probably don't know, I'm going to be sharing a little bit of how Stacey Lynn impacted my life many years ago when I started the Push Talk Show. And so, without any further delay, first of all, I want you to go ahead. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe before you leave, one, and share this with another sister or two that want to take their style to the next level, right? God wants us as women to show up, whether it's in the marketplace, even at church. Wherever we go, we want to make sure we're going in style. And who else to give us all the amazing tips than this amazing stylist who's been doing great exploits in the earth for the Lord? Right now, help me welcome Stacey Lynn. Hello, Stacey Lynn.
Hello,
Welcome,
hello.
welcome back to the Push Talk Show.
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here tonight, and I'm excited to push. I'm excited
Yeah,
to
let's go.
to
Let's go,
encourage.
because you know a little bit of something about pushing, right? So we're gonna get deep and have girl talk and just that amazing conversation tonight as the Holy Spirit just lead us, right? And
Yeah.
so what people don't know, and I'm going to share, is that when I started the Push Talk Show, especially, it was underground radio, and then it became just the audio podcast, and then the times when I decided to go live. I said I need some help with my wardrobe, and I could not find my photo, but I have it somewhere on social. But Stacey Lynn sent me, I think it was a bottom. I remember it was like a leopard type print. She probably don't remember this. And then it was an
Mhm.
amazing dress. And yeah, two dresses.
I
And
did. Oh my
you
goodness.
did. You did. You gifted me those, and I wore them
Wow.
proud. I was talking about it the whole time. She don't remember. See, that's why I say I remember. I was telling my mom earlier. I said, I give props where it's needed, right?
Yeah.
I. I'm a loyal. I'm loyal. I may not be with
Yes.
you now, but I'm loyal. And
Yeah.
so I also want to shout out to Dr. Joan Wright Good, who, because of her,
Yeah.
that's how we met, right?
Yes.
And so shout out to Dr. Joan
Absolutely.
for she nobody knows this. She was one of my first mentors who
Yes.
kind of helped me even with the Push Talk Show. She kind of helped me break down the abbreviation because I knew I didn't want it to be print until something happened, because that was something personal to me. But so
Yeah.
shout out to Dr. Joan Wright Good. Shout out to you
Amazing.
wherever you are. I love you. I
Yes.
appreciate you, and thank you for connecting Stacey Lynn and myself. All right. So I
Yeah.
want to just get that out the way because I know once you start talking and we get deeper into conversation, it's going to be on, right? And I need some styling tips on tonight. See, how did I do? How did I do? So I'm going to give Stacey Lynn now an opportunity for those who don't know her to share a little bit about herself, and then we're going to get into conversation.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much again for having me. For those that do not know, I am Stacey Lynn. I am a personal brand stylist, and I am also a fashion designer. I'm super excited to be here tonight to share my journey of faith, uh, passion, and of course, fashion. It is exciting to be on this path of purpose. And I am going to share some of the things, the ups and the downs, the ebbs and the flows of entrepreneurship, and also of following God and following God's plan for your life, God's way. It's not always perfect, but it's not always the way you plan it, but it is always perfect in his eyes, and maybe not to us. But for those that don't know me, you can follow me at Styles by Stacey Lynn. I am excited and so grateful for Patrice to allow me to be here to share my story, to share my um, aspirations and how they've come true. And I'm excited for God to push somebody to the next level today in their faith or in their passion. Um, just know that God is in the details of your life and he knows exactly what you need. And so if you are here tonight, it's not by chance or by accident, but it is on purpose, so that you can hear something that God has for you today.
All right, man. I can imagine just having one of your one-on-ones, right? You'd be like taking them to church, like, hey, no, and that it comes naturally to you, and that's who you are, and I know you're gonna share some moment of because of your foundation, how it's
Yes.
helping you out there, man. So let's talk about your beginning stages. Like, how did you get introduced to the world of fashion, styling?
So it's funny because I never truly got introduced to the world of fashion. When I was growing up, my mom, my grandma, like it was our pastime that every weekend we would go shopping. And even on the weekdays after my mom would get off of work, we would go shopping. We shopped all the time. So like other little girls, they may have been watching, Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, or any of those things. I was watching Style Network and I was trying to figure out how to get a look under $100. I was watching the fashion designers run up and down trying to put things together. And I knew in that moment, specifically, shout out to Rachel Zoe and the show. Um, I realized that at that very young age that I wanted to be a personal stylist. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but that was my inspiration to actually become a stylist. I loved watching Rachel Zoe. I loved um, the rawness of her show, and I just absolutely love how it feels to look and feel good about yourself. And I think I really had a moment in high school and grammar school when I could make myself look different than everybody else. Because at that time, name brands were in, and my mom was like, nope, I'm not buying any name brands. I'm not buying. And so at that time, I got really creative about the way that I looked. And I understood how powerful it was when you showed up as you every time, not just like a brand, not just a name, but you were you, and it reflected in your personality. It reflected in the way that you dressed. And one of the biggest things that I feel fashion does for most women is help them to enter a room before they actually say a word. So one of my biggest things is what will they say about you? Before you even speak, what will they say about you? And I just hope that the things that people are saying are based off of the things that you want them to say. And that's what our clothes can do.
Okay, okay. So I wonder what my clothes are saying about me tonight. But
Well,
that
it
is
says that you're very sophisticated, and that's by the choice of color, but you still have a sense of boldness with that red. And so, see, I peeped,
you peeped.
but
I was trying. I
uh-huh,
was trying.
chic and very clean, never, not too much, but just enough.
Just enough. Come on. All right, all right. I hope you all getting in line and to book your consultations. Come on. All right, all right. That is so good. I love how you package that like and just delivered it to us right there, right?
Yeah.
And so because I know on days when I don't feel my best, it shows in what I put on, right? Because
Yes.
you could be in a t-shirt and look so fly, but based on how you're feeling. So, how do you help your clients build confidence? Because I can tell you when I put on something based on when I look in the mirror, on what I see, even if
Mhm.
you're wearing something as beautiful, you may not have the confidence. So, how do you help your clients? And you work with some high-end clients, but I know it didn't always start like that. But how do you transcend like that confidence to those clients?
I think that confidence starts from within. I don't think that that's something that I transcend. I think that it helps when you empower someone uh, about their own body, right? When you show them ways that they had no clue could work for them, and when you let them know that there are no limitations unless you create them. And so confidence comes from within, but the way that we can help somebody be more confident is by providing education in the areas that they're searching for. So if that is in a body type or a material, a color, or any of those things, we can provide more education to them about what that looks like on them, but we can also just allow them to see it. And one of the biggest things for me is to allow my clients to see what they can look like, what their possibilities are, right? Because a lot of people have come in with limiting beliefs already about what they can and can't wear, why they can't wear it. And because of those things, it creates limitations in our own mind that other people have not created or given. And so I think the biggest thing with confidence is that once people are aware that they're able to tread on different waters, and when I say different waters, I mean different styles, that they can do things that they have never seen before, that no, they don't need permission to show up, that they don't need permission to dress their best, that they don't need to ask anybody about what looks good, but as long as they feel good, I think it begins to build up their confidence. The other thing that builds up confidence is obviously compliments, right? So when you start to receive compliments from people about what you look like, you start to invest a little bit more time, a little bit more effort, but that's not because of them, it's really because of you. You like the way it feels, you like the way you feel when you show up, you like the way you operate. If most people do not know, but you become more productive when you're dressed up. Why? Because you want to be seen, and you want to do your best because you look your best. And so um I think the biggest thing for me is making sure that my clients understand they don't need permission. They don't need to limit themselves. And that doesn't mean that some pieces don't work. It just means that I'm okay with saying no to something that doesn't serve me or doesn't work for me, but it's not because of any limitation that I put on myself.
All right, all right. I'm feeling confident already. All right, to even try some new things.
Yes.
uh, that is amazing, right? So I know I mentioned earlier when I met you, you had a boutique, right?
Yes.
So what caused you now? I don't know if you still have the boutique, but what caused you to kind of moved away more now to doing more personal styling and piling up that clientele, like what caused you to shift from there? Because we have Sheen and Tebow and all the people right now, right?
Yeah.
So everybody is an ambassador or something these days, affiliate. And they're anyway. We're not gonna go there. But what caused
Yes.
you to kind of shift from the boutique to now doing what you're doing?
So the boutique was always a starting point for me, and it never was the end point. And at a point where it was getting difficult to manage, I went into prayer, and I always go into prayer about my business, because God is truly the CEO of my business,
Mm,
and I'm just managing on, on earth. And so at that time, God had me revisit my why.
mm,
And initially, when I started my boutique, it was only to stabilize myself as a expert in fashion. It was
mm,
to position myself in places where people would look to me for fashion advice. I always dreamed of having a store, but my biggest dream was to have a store and a collection of my own,
mm,
meaning my own designs, my own you know what I'm saying, my vision. But at that time, it was the best way to do it was to start a boutique. And so
mm,
I was super excited and very invested in it. In 8 years in, God told me to revisit my why.
mm,
And so by year 8, I had already started to style clients and already had developed this position as an expert in fashion. And so because of that, I said it is now time for me to shift back to the why. The why
mm,
was initially just to position myself to be a stylist, to get more clients, to be able to be looked at as this person that knows what she's talking about. And that
mm.
transition was powerful. Um it was humbling. It was difficult. It was all the things that you can think. It wasn't an easy transition because
Mhm.
it was what I knew.
Yeah,
um
familiar.
it
It's
was familiar, but it had gotten taxing on
mm,
me as well. And I was constantly looking to God, like, why isn't this working? Or why isn't this growing? And why isn't this? And when He told me to go back to my why, to go back
mm,
to the beginning,
mhm.
it made it very clear as to I had overstayed in a space trying to make it work, and it was time for me to transition.
Wow, that kind of step on my big toe. Okay. Because I can relate. I know what you're saying. I know overstaying in seasons where okay,
Yeah, it was time.
it was time. It was time. Wow. Wow. It was time.
It
Man,
was
she stepped on my big toe, people. Come on. She's just stepping on my toes. But it's so good because you the pain of letting go of those familiar places, faces, people, places, and things, right? And
yeah,
so people expect, right? And you can relate to, oh no, we know you here, we're comfortable with you here, right?
yeah.
How dare
Hmm.
you, not knowing that God will always take us back to the original intent.
Yep.
And can I tell you that happened to me last year? Why I'm back on the Push Talk show? It happened because I was
Wow.
forgetting. So he does.
We
I can
often do
relate.
because we get so intertwined with what we're
Mhm.
doing that we
Yeah,
don't see outside of it, and we don't remember the purpose. And the whole
yeah,
plan, the whole point of you doing whatever you're doing is to be in purpose with
yeah.
God, to be in sync. And when it doesn't feel like it's in sync, it's probably because something's off.
Mm-hmm. Come on. Yep, yep. Come on. You better tell me now. You had a major thing happen, right? So, and I did ask with permission if we could go into this conversation because I know it's a bit sensitive. But last year, you experienced something, a big major, something that you've probably, many people wait lifetime for this moment.
Yeah,
And then your dad,
yeah,
your cheerleader, or one of your cheerleaders passed
yeah.
away. What happened in that moment for you?
um I don't I'm still processing, to be honest. I feel like that was the hardest moment of my life. It was the most difficult thing to accept because we honestly pray and we believe God for what we're praying for. And I am a person of radical faith. I am a person that believes that if God said that He can do it, that He will do it. And sometimes the fact that He can does not mean that He will. and I didn't connect the two. And so January 1st, I lost my dad. And 2025 was very difficult because my dad was sick the entire year. And January 1st, I just didn't expect him to go because I never allowed myself to think that he would. I never allowed myself to believe that God wasn't going to heal him again. So my dad struggled with pancreatic cancer 5 years prior, and then it came back in 2024. Um, and slowly but surely, he just started to, lose more weight, and I was just on a faith journey, and I was believing God for a miracle. I was believing God to deliver my dad, and couldn't nobody talk to me about anything else. Like there was no space for, everybody got to go. I wasn't listening to that. Like I believe that what you speak is what you will see, and I had confessed that all 2024 and all 2025, and I still believe it today, because one thing that I know that God did in that process was, like, he basically walked me through it. He cared enough to make sure that I was okay in the moment, even when I wasn't okay. And I believe that God was very intentional, even with the day that he took my father, because he made sure that I was aware that I would be okay either way. And I had prayed a prayer that I had never prayed before. The evening before that, before he passed, um, that if it is your will, um, then I will be okay either way. But I never prayed that prayer. I had never given permission, um, for anything other than life. So it was very difficult because my dad was my best friend, and he was the person that I could run all my crazy dreams through, and he was the one that was gonna set up everything and make sure. Even this office, he helped me, put this office together. Um, he always just believed in me, and it's not that my family don't believe in me, they do. But he was the person that my wildest dreams were reality because of him. So um, it was difficult, but I knew that I had to continue
Mm.
because he wouldn't have accepted anything less.
Yeah.
Um, and I knew that my dad was very proud and very excited about that moment. And when I think back, he never actually said that he would be there. And
Mm-mm.
it's stuff like that I'd be like, maybe, he always knew.
Yeah.
Um, but I know he would have wanted to be there. But he was
Hmm.
very, very excited about
Yeah, yeah. And for those of you who are watching and you're wondering, what is this other thing, right?
it.
So share the big news, because when I heard this, I was like, wow, okay. You took a leap, because I know you were in LA doing some stuff, but and you were saying stay tuned, and so the next thing we hear, hey, I was chosen to showcase my designs on the New York Fashion Week. So what? How did that like? Because I was thinking as you were talking, like, can suffering and pain exist with excitement, with joy, with oh wow, mind blowing miracle that Jesus did?
Yeah.
Like, how did you process that during that time?
So interesting enough, in July, my birthday is in July, and I started declaring that this was my iconic year. I started declaring that there was going to be, you know, just iconic moments in my life. And I actually spoke, like, I believe that, I should be at New York Fashion Week, at Paris Fashion Week. Like, this is my iconic year. That was July 9th when I did my photo shoot. And I was just declaring that that was going to happen. In August, I get a call from a lady that I met in like it had to be like 2022, 2023. And she's like, hey, I would love for you to be a part of our New York Fashion Week showcase. I think that this would be an amazing opportunity for your brand and just the next level for you. Um, what do you think? And this was in August, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm not sure. I didn't know how I was going to come up with the money. I was unsure of how I was going to produce a whole line in the next couple of months. And so I sat on it for a while, but then I remembered the words that I had spoken. And I had said that this was my iconic year and that these were the things that I know that I could do. And I waited on God's confirmation um, to actually announce it because it was a part of me that didn't feel like this was the right time. It was a part of me that felt like there was um it just wasn't enough. Yeah, I didn't have enough. I didn't have, and God said, use what you had in your hand. And it was confirmed to me at a client's conference where the whole theme of the conference was use what you have in your hand. And that moment, it was just confirmation. I had already accepted it because at that point God had spoken so clearly about what was next for me, and he was clear even through me, even though I couldn't see it. I had spoken it in July, and I had been declaring that I would see what I say, and I literally have seen what I've said since 2024. And I've been very intentional about what I say over my life and what I speak over my life because I believe that God is hearing us. I believe that God is moving based off of our own faith, and I do have this radical faith. And so when I realized that, hey, that's what I had already spoken, this has to be God. And then that was just another confirmation that it was God. And so that is how I actually decided to be a part of New York Fashion Week.
Wow, wow. Isn't it amazing the people you meet in the past? That's why treat people well, everyone. Like treat people well. Like, I know there's this thing where once you get to a certain level, right? The little people are no longer,
Mm.
but you just never know. Like this lady could have said, "Hell, she's just a boutique owner," right? But for her
Yeah.
to remember, so treat people well and
Yes.
treat everyone like they're as so important, like they are the Oprah or they are the next Louis Vuitton, or just treat
Exactly.
people well. And so, because look at Stacey Lynn now. When I saw you, I shared your video during the promo,
Yeah.
and when I saw you, she was stepping like those models had nothing on her. She stepped up so proud, taking her long steps, and just doing her thing on the catwalk. And I just said, "Wow!" And I didn't even know this, that it was someone from the past who you have previously crossed path with who
Yeah.
remembered you. So the God who remembers. And you
Oh,
said you said that you're the one, you had this robust faith. Like I thought of robust faith, that's strong faith, right?
yes.
Radical, crazy faith, to
Yes.
believe. Um, didn't even know it was gonna be in this way, but
No.
that's how God, He wants us to just have that faith to believe. And listen, as I'm saying this, I'm encouraging myself because today was one of those days. And so I'm being encouraged because what you speak, as a man think it, so is he. But also, whatever you speak out of your mouth, it can form it. You're your own prophet, right? You're your own prophet. So you
Yeah.
prophesy things, whether you think you're not, you are. And
Yes.
so, with your radical faith, which woman in the Bible can you relate to the most based on your journey and where you are now?
So it's always hard for me. This question is always difficult because I believe that I can see myself in a lot of the women in the Bible, but specifically, I see myself in Ruth um, because of her radical faith to believe in something that she had not seen or even experienced. She didn't know God. She didn't know, she didn't know where she was walking into. Everything was unfamiliar, and she was okay with that. She trusted in God enough, in a God that she never served. And she stayed faithful to Naomi. And I think that is one thing that if someone meets me, that's one thing that they can say is that I stay faithful. It doesn't matter what I see, what I've heard, what I've done. I stay faithful to what I know God has called me to. Even if it looks like a pivot, even if it looks like a move, it's still going to be in alignment with what God has called me to. And I have had my own experience of walking in a space of unfamiliarity when it comes to God. When I grew up one way and serving God one way, and then when I came to know the God of the Bible, I understood that the ways that I had been walking, the ways that I had been talking, or the ways that I had been taught were not all of God, not all of the God of the Bible. And so I radically believed in the God of the Bible, and I began walking that way, um, despite what all of my family and all of my friends and all of them knew. I knew that what God was calling me to was to be radically obedient to Him and to His word according to what it said, and it didn't matter what anybody else thought or said. And one thing that sticks out to me with Ruth is that it didn't matter how much Naomi told her, don't do this, don't go there, don't do that. She still did it anyway. Even with the idea that, hey, I don't have any more sons, there's nothing I can do for you. And she still believed that God was going to take care of her, even though she didn't know God Himself. And so well, she didn't know God for herself. This was just to me very eye-opening, a very beautiful experience. But the other person that I also relate to is Deborah. I feel like as a judge, as a prophet, she knew God's word, and she spoke it over her life and over, and she believed God to do what she had saw, and she believed God to do it on her behalf, and she moved with it. And that's how I feel. I have moved through my journey in entrepreneurship. It's not that I knew how to do any of this. I didn't come from a business background. I didn't understand, and I've been learning lessons, and I continue to learn lessons. But I believe that this is exactly where God has me, and I see the vision. I have seen the vision, and I believe God enough to move boldly and to speak the truth of God, regardless of what's in my way or what's up at stake. So those two women are always like my. It's hard for me to choose between those two.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you. So Ruth, no one ever said Ruth. I don't know. I don't think anyone said Ruth. People were always saying, I think we had about 4 or 5 Deborahs.
Okay.
And so you're now Ruth, and then we had a woman with the issue of blood, and then we
Mhm.
had 3 Esthers. So okay, so I can see God is talking, talking.
Yes.
So all the Esthers and Deborahs, come on, arise, arise, and let's go. We have someone here from Chi Town. So you have a fellow Chi Town.
Hello.
Yeah, Monica. And she is asking about your favorite season for fashion.
Oh, I think that one's easy. Uh, it's obviously fall because
Mhm.
it's that middle ground, right? It's like it's not too cold and it's not too hot, so you can layer up. And fashion is all about layering. Well, let me say, style is all about layering. When
Mm,
you can layer some pieces, you can really, really do some damage with the look.
mhm,
And I think that most people shy away from trying to layer up, but
mhm.
layering is what gives you that that you need.
Okay. All right. All right. And okay, she has a few more questions, so we're gonna get to those. Let's talk a little bit more now about some of your experiences. Like I know we kind of jumped to the next thing, but I wanted to ask, what was the experience like when you stepped now into your promise? Like, right? Let's talk about the moment, right? So you know, okay, dad was gone, and you couldn't just lie there on the ground, you know. You had to get up. Why didn't you put this thing off? Like, why didn't you say, you know, man, dad's gone, my biggest cheerleader, I'm not doing this? Why did you keep going?
I had no choice but to keep going. And I think my father in heaven and my father on earth knew that if I got to a certain point, there was no turning around, right? if it had happened any earlier, if my designs hadn't already been produced, if if I wasn't already, in the middle of promoting, and even the idea of having all of these people who literally came to New York to see me. By January 1st, it was already, in motion, where people were already signed up to be there. And one thing I can't do is say I'm going to do something and not do it. And so I think that was the plan of God, and the plan of my Father, knowing, hey, even if I won't be here, I'll be here in spirit. And I know that all of the people and all the love and all the joy, we had over 40 people to come to New York, just to celebrate with me, to be there for that moment. And that is unheard of, to be able to galvanize that many people to come from Chicago or wherever, because it was people from Arizona, it was people from Tennessee, it was people from all over that came, to celebrate with me. And I think that that moment, I couldn't stop at that moment. It was already done. It was already in motion, and
Mhm.
God knew that, and my Father knew it as well.
Yeah. When I saw you put that there that people are gonna come, I was like, wow, I've never seen this. It's almost like, the kid in the community who passes for this amazing school. Everybody goes to probably drop them off, or that it was just that moment. But when you
Yes.
hit the ground of Fashion Week, New York, this is New York Fashion Week. This is not
Yeah.
no local community fashion show. This is
Right.
New York. People are coming from Europe, designers from all over the
All
globe
over.
to come to New York Fashion Week. And here you are, Stacey
Yeah.
Lynn
Stacey Lynn
from Chi-Town.
had not even produced a full collection at that time. This was my first time producing a full collection, and it's amazing to me how God can see you and see the work that you've done and
Mm-hmm.
honor that through
On.
somebody else. And what I always say is that somebody sees what you don't even see in yourself yet.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Yeah.
I knew I could produce a whole collection. It's just the fact that I didn't. But she believed that I could even
That,
before she saw that I could. And
wow.
that's something major to me. What she knew was, is that New York Fashion Week had never experienced stylists and designers.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of their biggest points, is to make sure that they highlighted stylists and designers.
Yeah.
And she was like, this is the perfect, showcase for you. And I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, wow. It's almost like that you have to be a singer, actor, and dancer, right? For
Yeah.
to be a star, celebrity in Hollywood, right? But here
Yep.
it is. And I like that aspect. I didn't even think about that because most of designers over the years, they're not really stylists. Like they just design. They just like to design and make beautiful clothes. But here you are. It's that, so that was good. Shout out to New York Fashion Week. Come on, for
Yeah.
stepping into something new and bringing my sister along,
Yes,
man.
absolutely.
Wow.
This production was put on by the Bureau, Fashion Week, and they do it all over. Where this was the
Mhm.
first year that they did it, in New York, and they just recently did it in LA, and they'll be doing it in Paris as well. And so we did get the green light to do Paris as well, in October. We have not made a final decision yet, but that is still
Hey,
an that's still an opportunity that I could not, you know, I know that there's nothing but God, because
come on.
these are literally the things that I stated, and God is
Mhm.
honoring our words.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh my goodness. So not only will they know you just within the US, right? Global. Come on,
Global.
global. So that is God. God will just surprise us, right? And
Yes.
push us all the way global. We might think, oh yeah, New York Fashion Week is good, but let's go. So I'm so
Yeah.
happy for you. And that is why we're celebrating you without even knowing all of that detail. This is why God handpicked all these women to say, let's celebrate them during this Women's History Month. And here you are, you're sharing that story and empowering and pushing those. There's a lot of people who are sitting down and they're not doing nothing. They're
Yeah.
not doing anything. So, I'm going to give you an opportunity in a little bit to talk to those women, especially the women, because some of the guys, the guys are getting a lot of little help now to push them along. A lot of men
Yeah.
are raising up and leading other men. But because we want to just honor women and we wanted to say it's time women to push and to do, it don't have to be perfect. I'm sure people criticize the show all the time, but I don't care. I'd rather be obedient to God than to not show up because everything is not perfect. So, let's share your moment of push, your
Yes.
moment of being purposeful, being unwavering in your faith. You say you have crazy faith, right? And seeing
Yes.
the supernatural hand of God move and just the humility that you have right now. Just that
Amen.
humility. So let's
Yeah.
share that with our audience tonight.
So what's funny about this question is like, um, what what was your push, right? And I feel like entrepreneurship is always a push, but the ultimate push came in 2016 when I heard God, and I wasn't sure that this was God's voice initially, but I heard God say to leave my job. And at that time, I was making over 100,000. I was comfortable, I was happy, I was young. Um, I was 26 years old, right? And I was making good money, and I had the boutique at that time, and so that was my little side money. Didn't really know much about business, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I need you to leave your job," and I'm like, "Wait a minute." So I procrastinated, and one thing my pastor always says is delayed obedience is still disobedience, and I will never forget that. It's literally, I heard God say it again, and I'm like, okay, it's time to go, right? And so I put in my 30-day notice. At that time, my job had not offered anybody like part-time positions, anything. So in that moment, I'm thinking like, what am I gonna do? Like, my business isn't making enough money and blah blah blah. And even at that time, I wasn't aware that my business wasn't making enough money because I was making so much money that I didn't even realize that my business wasn't bringing in enough. And I didn't have my books in order. I didn't know what a profit was. I didn't know how to look at a return on investment. I didn't know how to do any of that. And so when God was calling me out, I'm like, I don't know what he was gonna do, but in my mind, I'm like, well, he must be ready, about to blow my business up. I must be about to get a bunch of business, and that was not what happened. Okay. Instead, I went through a wilderness period. I went through a time where I literally had to go to God every day for my manna. And that was the biggest push moment for me. It was making the decision to leave my job because I could have stayed there in disobedience. I could have stayed there knowing that this is the amount of money that I make and I need to make this and blah blah blah. But I chose to leave anyway because I heard God speak. And I think that that is powerful. That is when you know that God is when it don't make sense to man, but it makes sense to God, and you do it anyway. Radical obedience most of the time look crazy to people. Um, it just doesn't seem like obedience at all. It seems like dumb, like you're dumb. And that was my big push. And in that time where I literally had to go to God every day for my manna, I also then started to learn more about business. I started to get more deeper into what it looked like to own a boutique, and what it looked like to make a return on my investment, and what it looked like to actually pour back into my business, and realizing that my pricing wasn't right, and realizing that all of these things that business you would only learn if you actually did business, right? I didn't do business before. I was just pouring money into a passion project. I wasn't doing business before because I just had the money, the free money to flow, and it could just go wherever. And I knew that my bills and everything was going to be taken care of. But in my wilderness period is when God showed me that I knew nothing about my business. I knew nothing about, but He was grooming me to be who I am today and who I'm going to be in the future. So in order for us to become those millionaires and those billionaires, where we have to actually learn a little something about what that looks like. And it's all a part of the process. The push is all a part of the process, and I thank God for that process. I thank God for that push. I thank God that He didn't allow me to just have it the easy way. Sometimes in the process, you're asking God, just release me already. And He's like, but you still haven't quite learned. And so what's going to end up happening is you're going to go back and do it over and over again. And what I didn't want to do was be the children of Israel. I didn't want to be going there 40 years just circling. I didn't want to do that. Not 11-day journey going for 30 years. So I made sure that I went to God for everything. And that's still today what I am doing. I am moving according to His plan and His will for my life. I am moving according to His plan and His will for his disciples. And there is no error there. You know, if as long as I stick with God, I know that even in the moments where I have to push, that He's right there, that I'm not pushing alone, you know? And so I would say that that was my biggest push moment in my career. And the next biggest one was the one I just had, which was losing my father, and understanding that I still had an assignment here on earth, and I still had to show up and show out regardless of what my feelings were. And I think that is a hard thing for entrepreneurs, is we have feelings, but then we have a purpose, and you can't mix the two. You absolutely cannot.
I love that feelings, but you have purpose, right? And God
Yeah.
cares about more about the purpose of which He sent us here on earth than
Yeah.
your feelings. So let's, hey, push out of your feelings tonight. Push out of your feelings. You know,
Yes.
I think about, as you were talking, I thought about how we like to control or environment or situations, right? And when God is this walk with Him, He's calling us to be a very uncomfortable life. You know, when you're too comfortable, you will have all types of warfare. I don't know if you've ever been in season where you're just frustrated, like you know you should leave the job, right? You know you should leave, but you stay on the job and you're miserable,
Yeah.
miserable. And I think it's a matter of controlling. I need to know that I have this amount of money coming in to pay all my bills so I don't have to worry about it. And
That
so
is
that is where.
exactly what it was. It's all
Mm-hmm,
about control.
mm-hmm,
And ultimately, it was about not knowing God's voice.
mm-hmm,
Ultimately, it was me questioning whether I had made that up in my head. And one thing that I realized is that I wouldn't have made that up, because I was fine in my job. I wasn't upset. I wasn't uncomfortable. I was comfortable. I was comfortable in my job. I knew what I was doing. I knew how to show up. I knew what I was, you know what I mean? I knew everything, and I was comfortable there.
yeah,
But He started making it uncomfortable. And when I realized that I needed to get uncomfortable to see that that wasn't my voice. You know,
mm-hmm,
that was God's voice. And so I've been always trying to make sure that I'm attuning to God's voice, that I allow my ears to hear what I wouldn't say, you
mm-hmm,
know?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And the one of the thing is that I was sharing, I think I don't remember which night I was sharing that God had already made something known to me what He wanted me to do. And so I went to a service just so I could get a word, you know, Lord, please confirm.
Hmm.
I got nothing. All they said, you like to be in control too much, surrender. You like to be, you're
That's
logical.
what
You
you
want to
got.
know how this gonna go. And I was so humble. I was like, you know, boo boo cry. But
Mm.
it's just that moment where you know, like, God is not gonna speak to you again.
Yeah, he's
He's
not.
not gonna speak to you again. And so
Or he
even
don't
and
have to. He might.
no,
He might speak to you again, but he don't have to tell you
you
again.
don't have to, right? And then the thing is that when you now say you surrender and you're going through, you're like, God, I don't think this is you. You wouldn't do this to me. You know, and one of the hard seasons I've gone through is having to ask for help for certain things. And I said, oh no, this
Mhm.
cannot be. I said, Mom, this cannot be how the Lord wants me to live, right? So I can definitely relate with that. And as you say, delay obedience is disobedience. And
Disobedient.
so Hey, let us take the advice tonight, women who are watching, men, even men too. Some of you, you just need to get out there and do what you do. All right. And so I wanted to give you this opportunity, real quick, to just speak to that woman. There's one woman watching on here, and I want you to speak to that one woman and just whatever the Lord puts on your heart for that woman, because they need to push to the next level, and God's just waiting on them. So
Yeah,
let's go. Mhm.
let's go. So, to the woman that needs that extra push, know that you're not pushing alone, that God has intended for you to have partnership with him. And in that push, it might be hard. It might not feel good. It may not even look pretty. It may require you to be humble. It might require you to go through bankruptcy. It might require you to close something that you've been working hard at. It might require isolation from the things that you've always done to get clear. But whatever that is, do it, because God has a bigger plan. He has a bigger purpose. He has something excited on the other side of your obedience. More than anything, I want you to know that you you have a plan, but God has a bigger one. And that bigger plan is much better than anything that we can put together, anything that we can ask for, anything that we can even fathom. He said, anything that you could ask or think, he's even far beyond that. And so when we truly start to take what God has spoken in his word and we realize and we speak it over our own life, we can understand that where we are right now is not hard for God to move us to the next level. It's hard for us to move to the next level. And so get out of your own way and allow God to move you as he has called you to move, not as you have planned to move. If that means that you are completely off of your path, that just means that God has something new for you. And I want you to accept that new thing. I want you to accept what that new mountain would look like, what that new valley might look like, because on the other side of it is greatness. On the other side of it is God. And that's the biggest thing I want people to know. And you can't do this without sacrifice. But the biggest thing is your obedience. The minute that you give God your obedience, the minute he's able to bless you. Just like the women we just talked about, Esther, Ruth, Deborah, all of these women had to believe in something that they did not see. And in order to get the blessing that you're asking, you have to believe in something that you have not seen. So that is my final message to the woman that is looking to push through in this next season.
All right, all right. As you were talking, I thought of going through these processing, you kind of go back to your first love. Because I know we get busy, right? Doing even some of the things we say God's called us to do. And so at times when he starts to make us uncomfortable and strip us things away from us, it's us returning to our first love, because it's in those intimate moments that he's going to really open our eyes and even bring us back to those things that we love so dearly. But for some reason we got busy. We're
Yeah.
trying to make the money, we're trying to make everybody else happy instead of doing the things that you love and you're passionate about. And so we will never be fulfilled until we go back to him, our first love, so that he can be that father to us, love on us, and really open our eyes to see. And I'm encouraged tonight, Stacey Lynn. I want to thank you for sharing everything that you shared, for being so transparent with the loss of your dad, but also New York Fashion Week, a big accomplishment. And we thank God for all the many platform and stages that you will be on with your line.
Oh,
And so, one more question from one of your fellow Chi-Town resident, even though she's not in Chi-Town anymore, but she always loved winter. I know she loved the winter. I don't know if she's fall, but I know she liked to dress up in her boots and
yeah.
stuff and her nice coats. So she had one more question. Said, "What's your favorite trend right now, and what trend is something that you can't stand?" Like, which is your favorite right now, and which one you can't stand?
Very good question. So I am not a trend stylist. I am more of a person who, like, I guess, develops style based on personality, based on positioning. And so the difficult part about trends are they fade. And I believe that there's never really a trend for who you are. And so if I had to say what is my favorite trend is people putting on clothes again, right? Wanting to get dressed up and feel beautiful. I think the hardest thing for me was in 2020 when people became so relaxed and they no longer wanted to put on clothes. And it became a thing where people were just always dressed down. And so what I do love right now is that people are taking their time to get dressed a little bit more and take pride in what they look like when they step outside. One that I cannot stand, um, I do not like those very oversized boots. It's just not my thing. I do not like those. Yeah, that would have to be one of the trends that I really don't like. I think that's probably the top one.
All
Never
right.
can like I never got with those boots.
Yeah. Oh my God. So what are three pieces, like staple pieces that we all need in our closets right now? Like,
I think if my clients were to be on this call, they would know that I would say a blazer, a white button up, and some type of statement piece. So it doesn't have to be a specific shirt. It doesn't have to be a specific skirt or specific bottom, but something that makes a statement. So that can be your blazer. But at the end of the day, I think that most people need a blazer in their closet. They need a white button up. It's so versatile, a really good one. And you absolutely need a statement piece with every outfit. So that could be your necklace, it could be your blazer, it could be your pants, it could be your shirt, but some type of statement piece. And that would be what I would say top three things to have.
all right, all right. I never thought about the button-down white shirt. Just seemed too, weird. So I think I'm gonna try and get something like that in my closet.
Yes.
But
Every
blazers
person needs,
all day. I've had so much blazers. People are like, it seems like you always get a blazer, but I just
yes.
always like it. You can put them with jeans or whatever. But yeah, okay. So after this conversation, I might, try a little bit something different.
Yeah, yeah. Listen,
I'm
a
always
white button up,
predictable.
you never can go wrong with a white button up. It's always like that piece that just kind of solidifies, brings your outfit together. And when you are in doubt, add a white button up.
All right, all right. Well, thank you so much, Stacey Lynn. Oh,
You're
and
welcome.
all the amazing things that we talked about tonight. Man, I feel
Yes,
like I was in a session with you, but hey, that's what it's about, right? And
yes,
so,
yes.
if someone wanted to get a consultation, right?
Mhm.
How would they communicate with you or connect with you for that?
Yes. So they can go to my website. It's www.stylesbystacylynn.com. On there, you would just fill it out the form that says book a 15-minute free call. And that's where we would talk with you about the different packages that we have and how you can work with us.
Wow. All right. And then on your social media, how do we follow you?
Yes. So please, please, please go on Instagram. Follow me at Styles by Stacey Lynn. Again, on TikTok, Styles by Stacey Lynn. And on Facebook, I am Stacey Emerson. You can
Okay.
also follow Stacey Lynn on Facebook as well. But
Yeah.
both of them, yes.
All righty. Well, thank you so much,
Thank you
Stacey Lynn, for just being gracing us with your presence on here. A
for
true
having me.
celebrity. Hey, when they start talking about her all the way, remember she was on the Push Talk Show, okay? And
Yes.
this is her second time. So I thank you well, I think it was around the first year when I started. And now here we
Yes.
are, 9 years later. Still, you are
Yes.
gracing
Excited.
us on this platform. So thank you so much for just the humility that you have, and thank you for representing the kingdom out there in the marketplace, because the Lord is using us who will say yes. Listen, people, just go through the process. I'm saying that some people on here might be side eyeing me. They know themselves, Heather, because processing is hard, but thank God for people like the Naomi's, right? Ruth, the
Yes.
Naomi's that is there for us, and they remind us of who we are. And so just thank God for the Naomis.
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much. And for those of you out there, you don't know Jesus and you are in the styling, see how God has lifted his daughter. She didn't have to do anything. She didn't have to compromise. And she said yes to Jesus. And he's the one opening these doors. So if you're struggling out there and saying, hey, who is this Stacey Lynn? Listen to her story. If you're just tuning in, go back and watch it from the beginning and receive your moment of push. All right, so Stacey Lynn, thank you again.
Thank
I
you.
hope to hear back that a lot of these viewers contacted you and got their session in.
Yes.
All
Love
right,
it.
and we look forward to all that God's gonna do in and through you. So thank you again for being on here, and God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you for having me. And may God continue to bless the Push Talk Show and you, and every viewer. I pray that you guys get what you need today.
Amen, amen, amen. A new era. All right, God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you. Man, oh man, wasn't that a beautiful interview? Man, it gave me, she stepped on my toe a few times, but because when we're going through process, all of it kind of looked the same. All of us are going to have moments where the Lord is talking to us, say, leave that job, move from that place, go here, go there. And it may look like a loss, right? But obey God. Do not save face. Let us obey God because the day is coming. He's going to come back. And you don't want to be with the guy with the one talent, okay? And go bury it. You want to be like with the one with the five and the one with the two who multiplied. So get up, shake off, and let's go. All right? Be encouraged today. Be encouraged. Before we go, like I said, it's night 9 and we have a giveaway here. We have a giveaway. So for you to win this giveaway, you and your friends, you got to go and tag 2 people. If you're not following the Push Talk Show, go ahead and follow the Push Talk Show on all platforms, right? And also put in the comment, tag 2 people, 2 other women that you know that would enjoy these digital products, okay? Boss Babe Life Hacks, right? I want to know what's in there too. You see, you're getting a door hanger, you're getting a workbook. Hey, enter for a chance to win. And all you have to do is go on our Instagram page right now. That's where we have the initial post. Go on over there and you will see what you need to do. You need to be following a few people. You need to be following, it's Farah LaRae. You need to be following Boss Babe Life Hacks and the Push Talk Show if you're not. And then you're going to tag 2 women, 2 women. And then I am going to pick the winner. All right. I'm going to pick the winner. So go on ahead over to our Instagram page and do that. If you are not on Instagram and you want to do it on the YouTube or on the Facebook or on TikTok, we are live on TikTok. Hi, TikTokers, as well on Twitch. I'm also giving away this book for if you know a nurse, someone who's in nursing school who's about to graduate to get into the nursing field, or someone who's a veteran in there. I'm giving away the the Unshaken Nurse, right? By Lori Morrison. She is a BSN RN, and she's giving away some secrets of how you can survive. Hey, we don't want nurses who are too burnt out to attend to us in the hospital. So here is this nurse who took her time, allowed God to give her all that she needed to put into this book. So the first person to tell me how many of the women, okay, no, that's not it. Which character, female character in the Bible was most mentioned over these last nights? So if you could do that in a comment right now. If not, well, if you don't do it now, you're going to lose opportunity on this book. So I want you to do that now. If you're watching this later and no one got it, then you have a chance to, hey, get this book. I also want to be, this is just the not for resale, but it's a sample of my book. It's a 21-day journey to boldly sharing your story. Do you hear me on here talking all the time, sharing my little story, and even all these other women who are coming on here? Because I am in the public relations and marketing background, right? I've seen a little bit and heard a little bit where clients just refuse, or just individual, they don't know how to come and talk about themselves. They don't know how to share what God has given them. And so I have this book. It's called Push to Speak. All right? Push to Speak. And I'm giving away a copy of this to take you on your 21-day journey. Not only that, I will also give you an opportunity to consult with me for 60 minutes, right? 60 minutes. And this is the beginners. The advanced one is coming out. Those are for people who've been already been on platforms like, on a podcast, or, they've been doing stuff on their own social to go to the next level, to now prepare for bigger stages. And so because I have the public relation background and I kind of know more of what people are looking for out there, I can help you a little bit. All right. So I'm giving away, it's a hardcover, so it's good. You could put it in your purse and take it wherever you go and follow it. It's a daily. You have scripture in there, and you have, we have a winner. Okay. Deborah is the, yes, you are correct. Deborah is the one. Deborah is the one. All right. Shout out to Heather from Discovery Bay, Jamaica. Come on. All right, Heather. I don't know if you're a nurse, but I know you know someone who's a nurse who will really enjoy this book. All right. And as well as this one is for anyone else who can tell me who was the second most mentioned woman from the Bible. For that person who could do that, they will get a copy of this Push to Speak so they can start their journey speaking, sharing their story. All right. God has given you a story only you can tell. There's no one else who can tell your story like you. It don't matter if you grew up with their siblings or your mama knows. You are the one who was ordained to speak best about you. So don't be scared. There's help. All right. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. We have one last special guest who's going to join us on tomorrow. And so you're going to get to hear about what it means to be crowned by God. And I'm excited about that. So until next time, I'm Patrice Reed, your PR networker and your push coach. Remember, I push limits and I push boundaries. But guess most importantly, I push you to get up and do something. Just do what God is calling you to do, with money, without money. I can tell you, with 100% faith or even with 1% faith, God is waiting for you to unleash. Are you ready? So remember, in all that you're doing, remember it's all in the push. You can do nothing without him. And so that's why I'm reminding you to push. All right. So God bless you. And I'm celebrating all the women again. Happy Women's History Month. I know for those of you who didn't get a chance to watch all of the women, who is that? You got it again. So you get in 2 books. Hey, someone need to check on Heather over there. She's getting all the books. So congratulations. You are the winner of both these books, and I am not going to withhold it from you because you were watching. So thank you for all your support. Sarah. Oh, no, it wasn't Sarah. Actually, no one mentioned Sarah, to be honest. Oh, but it's okay. All right, it's okay. Hey, just for that effort, I will give you also a copy of Push to Speak so you could start your journey speaking. All right. I think that's fair. Yeah. All right, everyone. Remember to share this with another woman, a woman who's into style also, who wants to pivot and step into all the goodness of the world of fashion. Right. So until next time, again, God bless you. Remember, during this Easter, remember, Jesus is really, really the reason for the season. But most importantly, we are because he did. All right. So God bless you. Until next time.